Hi INFJs and autistic INFJs, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to have a conversation around loneliness. Loneliness hits very differently when you're an INFJ. It's not just about being alone, it's that deep aching feeling of not being understood. I mean, we can be surrounded by a bunch of people and still feel completely invisible. There's that saying that the loneliest I've ever felt was when I was with a group of people. That resonates very deeply with me because that's me. The loneliest I've ever been is when I'm with other people. And we're always looking for ways to cope with this. So today, because I like to be a little bit unusual and I don't like sharing things that we read about on every blog or listen to on YouTube, today I'm sharing 5 lesser known ways to deal with loneliness that I have used that I really like, and I think that it will help other INFJs and autistic INFJs. But at the end, I'm going to share a bonus tip that completely changed how I see connection. And it's probably one of my biggest, I don't want to say aha moments, but it's probably one of my biggest changes I've made that helped me really deal with loneliness. And actually, it helped me accept who I am, who I was as an INFJ. So welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm really glad you found it. Welcome. My name's Trina, if we haven't met before. I'm an INFJ and I'm also autistic. I created this channel with hopes of helping people like myself feel seen, heard, and understood and less alone. And I also wanted some place where I could share resources. So don't forget to check out the resource section in the description of this video. I just like to share things that have helped me and I know can help other people. My dog is in here, so you might have just heard him scratching. He's like all legs. He's a giant schnauzer and he's stretched out and he might bang on the wall. So my apologies. So anyway, welcome to my channel. I help INFJs heal self-love through coaching, classes, and community. I'm glad you found my channel. If you're returning, I'm glad you came back. I appreciate you all. I invite you, if you haven't yet, to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate the support. You guys are amazing. Okay, before we get going, INFJ virtual meet and greet. If you want to meet other INFJs and have conversations you can relate to and be like, yes, that's me. This is a place to go. INFJs, we can be really hard to find other people that we relate to. So I decided to create this virtual meeting. It's about an hour and a half. We have so much fun. It's casual, no worries, no judgment. Just have fun and mingle with other INFJs. If you want more information, I have 2 dates to accommodate different time zones. The link is in the description of this video, both links for both dates, and you can get more information. Okay, let's get into this. 5 unique ways INFJs can cope with lonely feelings. That feeling of loneliness. All right, number 1, engage in one-way connection. So I may pronounce this wrong, parasocial or parasocial bonding. This is what I mean. Now, I tend to pronounce words wrong because it's how I hear them in my head and that's how I pronounce them. But you get my idea. Simple Google search, it's really neat. We naturally form deep connections with ideas, with characters or figures that we admire. If you're a writer, which a lot of INFJs are writers, but if you're not, and you're an INFJ, don't worry, not a big deal. Not all INFJs are writers, but lots of us are. Anyway, do you not form connections with your characters in your books? I know I do. Deep connections. So instead of resisting this, lean into it. Watch interviews or read more books that you really enjoy those characters. You're really drawn to those characters. Read more of those books or immerse yourself in a fictional world that really speaks to your soul. Allow yourself to just get lost in it, daydreaming. This is quite interesting doing this because it helps reinforce that feeling of connection and it can be surprisingly comforting for INFJs. So it's okay to do it. And when we do this, when we just allow ourselves to get lost in the fictional world or connect with those characters we really like, it will trigger inspiration and ideas will start flowing. Number 2, another unique way that INFJs and autistic INFJs can cope with loneliness is channel loneliness into a creative ritual. We are highly creative. If you were like me growing up, you were told that you had no gifts, no talents, not creative at all. It's a lie, just so you know. Spoiler alert, that's a lie. INFJs are some of the most creative people on this earth. But loneliness sometimes stifles that creativity rather than inspiring it. When we get into that loneliness rabbit hole, it's really hard to feel inspired, isn't it? Like it's kind of a dark place, and it's really easy to get on that negative train of just focusing on everything that's wrong, that's going wrong, and feeling really bad about yourself. So it's a good habit to flip that script by creating a personal ritual. Instead, when you're feeling lonely, instead of going down that dark rabbit hole, flip it. We want to flip that script. Create this personal ritual. Maybe it's writing a letter to your future self. That's fun. It sounds corny. Really, it does. When I first heard that, I'm like, that sounds really dumb. I tried it and it's fun and I really enjoy it and it's very helpful. So even if it sounds dumb, just try it. It's fun. Or journaling in a poetic way. So I encourage lots of journaling. Journaling is great for INFJs. It's great for any personality type. But if you want to throw a little bit of a spin on it, to combat that lonely feeling, start doing it. Challenge yourself. Journal in a poetic way. Maybe it wouldn't even be a challenge. I know a lot of INFJs that are amazing poets. They write awesome poems. I am not one of them. I wish I could say I was. Maybe one day I will. Treat this as your sacred space where you meet yourself. And it will get so you're actually looking forward to that, going and meeting yourself and figuring out what's going on in your mind and getting it out in a creative way that feels good for you. I just gave you some ideas. Find something that really speaks to you, that's drawing to you. Drawing to you? Nope, drawing you in. Drawing you in, that's what I want to say. Number 3, to cope with that lonely feeling, reframe your inner dialogue about loneliness. Now, I'm a huge fan of reframing inner dialogue all the time anyway, but when it comes to loneliness, this is very, very helpful. We tend to frame loneliness as something is missing in our life, and that makes us feel even worse when something's missing, and then it forces us to start searching for that missing piece. Instead, try shifting the narrative. Loneliness isn't absences. It's not about something being missing. It's a space to grow, reflect, prepare for connections that will come. Think of it that way instead of, oh, there's something missing. I need to find what's missing. Think of it as just space. Space. It's ready for you to go and do what it is that you want to do. Maybe get to know yourself. This mindset change can make the experience more tolerable. Mindset is everything. It truly is. I know when I first started working on myself, again, going back to thinking, okay, how can a mindset really help me? Man, it is so powerful. Our mindset is one of the most powerful things. So anytime that you can shift your mindset into a more positive one that's going to work better for you, I really highly recommend doing that. Can be a lot of work, but we can do hard work. It's okay and it's worth it. Number 4, engage in micro connections. I really like this one. I do this lots because it's so fulfilling for me. Sorry, my shirt's driving me nuts today. It's the sensitivity thing. So what I mean by engage in micro connections with meaning is instead of forcing deep conversations that a lot of people don't want to have, because most people are very uncomfortable with deep conversations unless you're like us, INFJs. I think there's a couple other personality types that like it, but not many. Find value in small intentional reactions, small intentional interactions. So complimenting a stranger, you don't even have to verbally compliment them. A great interaction, and this is one I've been working on because I tend to put my head down, stare at the ground, and walk really quickly wherever I'm going and not acknowledge people around me because I didn't ever want to be noticed. I didn't want to be seen. It's how bad I thought that I was. So what I have been working on is facing up, looking around, and noticing people by just eye contact and a smile and a nod. Not a talkative person, believe it or not. I talk lots on my videos, but if you met me in person, I'm not a super talkative person. So you could do that. Instead of verbally connecting with somebody, just a simple smile and a nod. It really is fulfilling. It's a small little thing to do that gives you so much fulfillment. So much. I enjoy doing it and I actually look forward to doing it now. Another thing to do is sharing a meaningful comment online. I know INFJs spend a lot of time online and we don't like to mingle much. We're like the lurkers, right? We just watch what's going on and read. If you have something nice to share with somebody, maybe you've read something or somebody's having a bad day or whatever, and there's something that came in your head that this would be such a nice pick me up and I could share it, share it. If you think it's going to make their day better, share it. If you've got a compliment for it, share it. You don't have to put it in a whole bunch of words, just a quick little share. It's going to make their day and you're going to feel so fulfilled and you're not going to feel lonely. It takes that lonely feeling away. It's really neat how it is. Or simply acknowledging someone's presence can deeply create a ripple effect of connection without the pressure of socializing. So maybe at work, there's somebody that you're working with, a colleague that has helped you a few times, or maybe not even a few times. Maybe they just helped you today with a paper jam in the printer, whatever it may be. Acknowledge it. Say, you know what? I really appreciated your help today. Thank you for being there. That's all you got to say. And it makes a huge difference, not only with inside of you, but it will make a huge difference for them as well. So it's fulfillment all around. It is amazing. That's why that's one of my favorite tips is the micro connections with meaning, because they are small, but they are so powerful. Number 5, reconnect with your own energy through nature or movement. This is another one of my favorites. Because it's very, very helpful. We can become disconnected from ourselves when we become very lonely, right? Remember I said we go down that dark rabbit hole and negativity just flies all over us and we lose touch with who we are. We lose that connection. So one powerful remedy is physically grounding yourself. INFJs will thrive much more. Is that the word I'm looking for? We tend to thrive a little better when we do a lot of grounding, physical grounding, because we spend a tremendous amount of time in our heads, which for an INFJ, that is healthy to a point. We do have to spend time in our heads to a point, but we also have to be able to pull ourselves out of our heads back into our body, and doing that by grounding so that we can connect with ourselves again and we don't lose who we are. So a great way to do this, and I know a lot of you are going to cringe, walking barefoot in the grass, because there's so many of us that hate bare feet, myself included. But if I'm grounding, not now because we got lots of snow, but if I want to ground myself and feel really good, if I'm having one of those days and it's summertime, I will take off my socks, and I don't generally walk in the grass. Sometimes I will, but I'll just sit in the grass and I'll put my feet in the grass. And it works so good. I have heard of people doing this out in the forest. Haven't tried it, but I am going to try it this summer. Another thing to do is feeling water on your skin is another one. Different temperatures of water. It's not one of my favorites, but I do know lots of people that like that one. Another one is swaying to music in a dark room. I like swaying to music. I haven't tried it in a dark room because I'm not a fan of darkness, but I do dance to music lots. And sometimes it's my favorite music with lyrics, and sometimes it's instrumental music and I just want to feel the instruments, and that's what I'll use. Another thing that is one of my favorite ways to ground, and I do this winter, summer, spring, fall, is going out into the forest, because I spend a tremendous amount of time in the forest, and sitting underneath a tree. A new friend of mine who I love visiting with so much, she mentioned that she calls it the toes of the tree toes, just sitting underneath at the tree toes and just sitting there and being there. Being in that space, noticing, listening for the breeze blowing through the trees or the birds, or maybe there's a squirrel, just being there with yourself. And it only has to take like 5 minutes. Whatever you have is another great way to ground. These sensory experiences reconnect us to our own presence And it makes that loneliness feel less like isolation and more like solitude, which is something that we crave and we need a lot of. So that's where that becomes powerful. It switches it from being lonely into solitude, and it will actually start recharging us, giving us energy instead of taking it away, feeling bad about ourselves. Okay, the next one, my bonus. This was a huge one for me, and it's actually very simple. It is detaching from society's definition of connection. This was huge. Realizing that I didn't actually even want what society said I should want. I didn't need a big group of friends. I didn't want a big group of friends. I didn't want to go out every weekend or after work with people. I didn't want to socialize all day at work with people. I didn't want any of that. I didn't need to constantly be around people to be fulfilled, even though society has that belief that that's what people need to be fulfilled. This was a game changer for me, letting go of the pressure of what society expected of us to be normal, to fit in, and embracing what actually feels right for me. I do really well alone in my solitude because I reframed what loneliness is, and it's solitude that I allowed myself to enjoy. It didn't take much. I just let go. Actually, I said it out loud. You know what? This is who I am. I don't need all of that, and I'm okay with it. That's all I had to do, and I started leaning into it, and it was huge. Letting go of society's pressures to be somebody that you're not was huge for that loneliness, because when society has those ideas of what is normal and we don't fall into that, it feeds that lonely feeling because we're feeling bad about ourselves. So letting go of it. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you're going to try some of these, or let me know what you do to help. Maybe you've got a way that you cope with loneliness that works well for you and I didn't mention it. Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. We can support each other and learn and grow together. Thank you so much for joining. Again, if you want more information on the INFJ virtual meet and greet, because it's a lot of fun and it's my favorite thing to do because I get to connect with so many people and I've met so many amazing people. Link is in the description of the video and you can find out more information about that. Thanks so much for joining. Again, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. Share this video. The more times it's shared, the more INFJs we get to help, and that's what it's all about. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye-bye for now.